Hello there, and welcome to my channel where I read unhinged stories from all over the web, but honestly, more often than not, from Reddit. Today we are back to randomly selected stories with no particular theme in mind. So, sit back and enjoy. Our first story comes from relationship advice. Engagement ring situation. Am I being silly? TLDR, I bought a modest engagement ring. She tried to give it back during a serious but respectful fight. I want to buy a modestly more expensive ring, but mostly because my feelings about the ring are sad after the fight. She seems to be totally over the situation. Is it silly to get a new ring? I want opinions on if this is silly. 39 and 41, both females. Together for several years, engaged for 1 year. All parties involved in therapy, including individual, family and couples. I am engaged to a wonderful woman. We have had an intensely challenging time in the past 2 years, and for the most part we have weathered them beautifully as far as our relationship goes. During the worst moments of some chaos, and truly the hardest moments of our lives, my partner and I had a terrible fight. Nothing abusive or cruel, but a desperate feeling of, how can we even think about the future, kind of stuff. We worked it out, but that evening included her taking her ring off and trying to give it back. I was just incredibly heartbroken about it. That was about 2 months ago. I bought her ring about 1.5 years ago and proposed with it. I was in a different financial situation then, was temporarily financially supporting family members and had a lower paying job, and the ring was what I could afford. She loved her ring at the time, and it was chosen with sentimentally sourced materials. I used to ask her for it so I could clean and make it sparkle and put back on her finger. I used to hold her hand and touch it and feel warmth and security. Since she removed it during that fight, I just kind of cringe about it. Our wedding is later this summer. I kind of want to get her a new ring and propose again, maybe on the upcoming anniversary of our first date. I would probably get a nicer, more expensive ring, but honestly the real reason is how awful I felt in that moment when she tried to give it back. I think that fight is truly resolved and water under the bridge for her. We talk about most things extensively, lesbians, lol, but I can't seem to talk about how that made me feel. I'm worried I'll be opening fresh wounds on that fight and maybe making her feel bad or like I am holding a grudge. So, should I get a new ring? Should I talk to her honestly about why? Do I just need to get over it? Well, I've never been one for ignoring issues. And, even though OP says the fight was resolved, it is clear to me that it wasn't if she is still having negative reactions when looking at the ring. You only get triggered by something when there is still a wound that has not healed. And, by her own account, she is still having a strong negative reaction towards the ring, something that used to provide her with a sense of security. Also concerning to me is the fact that she fears bringing this up with her partner because she is afraid of the reaction. I see these as two separate, but related issues. And I do think they can be addressed. But if I were OP's friend, I would tell her to really dive into what she is truly feeling about the argument and what she is really afraid of. Is it that her partner will leave? Does she have abandonment in her past? Her childhood? I will also suggest she looks into whether she feels safe and secure in the relationship. Because her reaction to the ring is making me feel that her sense of security in the relationship is gone or greatly diminished. That needs to be addressed. I hope OP and her partner figure out what's best for both of them. But, what do you guys think? Do you think she just needs to get over it? Or are you thinking more like me, like there is still something there for them to do? And one thing I'd like you to do now is to like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel. On to our next story, also from relationship advice. My wife gave birth to a black baby that clearly isn't mine, and I'm divorcing her. But I'm worried about the relationship between my 2 kids and their new half-sister. A month ago, my wife gave birth to a black baby girl. We're both white, so she was forced to admit that the child was a result of a one-night stand last year. I've started divorce proceedings, although we're still living together for now. Between our 2 boys, aged 2 and 4, I've had paternity tests for them and they came back positive. Her infant daughter and her having lost her job due to COVID, living together as amicably as possible until the divorce is settled is an unfortunate necessity. Naturally I have no ill will towards the baby, and I've been disgusted by some of the comments I've heard from family members, friends, co-workers and others, all who seem to be fixated on the racial angle of this. As if the most salient part of this isn't that my wife cheated, but that she cheated with a black man and that the baby is black. What really worries me is that my 2 sons might pick up on these narratives. They're too young to really understand what's happening now, but I'm worried that as they grow to understand the situation that they might grow to resent their half-sister for breaking up their parents' marriage. And worse, that their resentment might express itself in a racist fashion, under the influence of the aforementioned racist narratives. Any thoughts on how I should try to influence my sons away from that perspective? It probably doesn't help that we live in a suburb with very few black people and their half-sister is really the only black person my children know. Wow, this is heartwarming. Well, not the cheating part, of course. But the fact that this man seems genuinely concerned for the emotional well-being of this innocent child is just lovely. I don't know what the right answer would be here, but I think that him just being aware and concerned of the potential issues goes a long way in avoiding problems between the kids. What would you guys do? How would you handle this? I am really curious what others, you all, think can be done in this situation because it is complicated for sure. Okay, so let's end here for today. I hope you are enjoying the channel. Don't forget to come back for more crazy stories. And feel free to submit your own stories or suggest other subreddits where I can find even more unhinged content. Catch you next time.